All right, let's talk about something tough. Lust addiction can feel like this constant, unwinnable battle. But what if the problem isn't your willpower at all? Today, we're going to break down a really powerful approach into 7 practical daily habits. These are designed to help you break that cycle for good. And we're going to start by getting real about just how high the stakes actually are.
You know, the source material puts it about as bluntly as you can. This isn't just some minor bad habit we're talking about. It really comes down to one critical question. Who's in the driver's seat of your life? Because when lust is at the wheel, man, it just drains your energy, it kills your focus, and it keeps you trapped. The stakes, they really couldn't be any higher.
And here it is. This is the core idea that just changes everything. So many people fail because they try to fight these urges head-on, with sheer willpower. It's like trying to push a giant boulder up a hill every single day. We're going to explore a much smarter way, building systems that make failure really, really hard.
So that brings us right to our foundational concept: systems, not willpower. This is a whole new way of looking at it. It shifts the entire game from a battle of just brute strength to one of clever strategy.
Okay, so look at this. This comparison really frames the shift perfectly. On the left, you've got the old way, right? It relies on willpower and it just leads to this endless cycle of guilt, stress, and feeling like a failure. But the new way, the systems-based approach on the right, that's all about strategy, controlling your environment, tracking your progress, and ultimately actually changing your identity.
So our first tactical move is all about this idea. Build your fortress. This is all about taking control of your environment, proactively managing your surroundings so you're not constantly fighting battles that you could have just avoided altogether.
All right, habit number 1.
So what does this mean? It means you cut off the easy access. Stop trying to be strong and start being smart. See, lust thrives on convenience, so you have to add friction. Block sites at a deep DNS level. Get your phone and your laptop out of the bedroom at night. When it takes real, actual effort to relapse, the urge often just loses its power before you even get started.
Okay, next up, habit 2.
And isolation. I mean, think about it. Most relapses don't happen in a crowded room at lunchtime. They happen late at night when you're tired and when you're alone. The source suggests a really simple rule. No isolation after a certain time. Let's say 9 p.m. This isn't about punishing yourself. It's just practical risk management. It's like wearing a seatbelt.
And here's the third piece of our fortress.
I want you to think of lust like a fire. It's fueled by this slow, constant buildup of visual cues. So the solution isn't to test your self-control by staring at the flames, right? It's to aggressively remove the fuel. Unfollow the accounts, stop the mindless scrolling, and basically starve the addiction of what it feeds on.
So you've built your fortress, but let's be honest, no defense is ever perfect. So what happens when an urge gets through the gates? Well, that's where our next section comes in, mastering the moment. It's all about having an immediate response plan ready to go.
Which brings us to our 4th habit. Now, according to the source, an urge is a physical event before it becomes a mental one. This is a game changer. The second you feel it, move. Drop and do 30 push-ups, splash cold water in your face, go for a fast walk around the block. This strategy is brilliant because it drains the physical energy of the urge before your mind has a chance to grab hold and turn it into a fantasy.
And the 5th habit.
This might be the most important rule of them all. The second you start that little debate in your head, oh, just this one time, or I'll start over fresh tomorrow, you have already lost. The urge always wins through negotiation. The solution is to have an automatic, pre-decided response. Feel the urge, you stand up and move. End of discussion.
We've covered defense and we've covered immediate response. But this final section, this is about the long game. This is about designing your identity so you can control your future self and build a life where this is just no longer a part of who you are.
Habit number 6.
Lust absolutely thrives in boredom and unstructured time. Those empty hours after work or on a quiet weekend evening, those are danger zones, so you have to plan them. Decide beforehand what you're going to do. Idle time isn't relaxation. It's the space where relapse happens.
And that brings us to our final habit. This one is huge. So many people get derailed by guilt. They have one little setback and they think, well, I've failed, so I might as well just give up completely. This habit flips that script. You don't focus on the failures. You track your wins. Track your days clean. Track the number of urges you resisted. This focus on progress is what actually builds your new identity.
And this chart just illustrates the point brilliantly. When you focus on the streak, on the progress, on all those wins, you start to realize that a single setback is just a tiny, tiny blip on a much larger journey of success. It completely reframes your entire perspective.
And that right there is the ultimate takeaway. You stop trying to be someone who resists urges, and you start becoming someone who doesn't do this anymore. That shift in your core identity is more powerful than any amount of willpower you could ever summon.
So what really happens when you just stop negotiating? When the answer to an urge is no longer a big debate in your head, but an automatic, systematic action? Well, the entire power dynamic flips. You stop being the one reacting to lust, and you become the one in control. And really, that's what this all comes down to, a fundamental choice. This isn't about being perfect. It's about having a system, having a plan, and deliberately deciding who is going to be in charge of your focus, your energy, and your life.
Which leaves us with the final challenge from the source. It's not some vague, far-off goal. It's a 30-day question. If you implement these systems, if you build these habits, then in 1 month, the answer to the question, who took control, well, that could change everything.